Hi guys, I'm Greg Howlett, and I want to take a moment today and talk to you about a real game changer in the world of recording. Now, I know that some of you aren't recording musicians, and maybe you'll find some applications for this in your church, but maybe this is just geek stuff today. I don't know. This is something that I find intriguing, but also just mind-blowing, actually. Some of you are going to look at this and you're going to say, Greg, that's cheating. Others, you're going to look at it and say, I had no idea something like that was possible. But I want to talk about a new development, fairly new development in the world of recording. It's a plug-in, which is a little piece of software that allows you to manipulate recorded data in a new way. Now, let me give you a quick little history lesson. If you go back 100 years, or maybe not quite 100 years, let's say 80 years, back to the early recordings, you'll notice that there's a lot of mistakes on them. Even from the great musicians, because musicians are, after all, human. And it's basically impossible to sit at the piano for an hour and play thousands of notes and not make mistakes. So everybody makes mistakes. So one of the things that's really changed, though, is technology has now allowed musicians to get to the point where they can fix a lot of those mistakes in ways that weren't possible. Now, that's especially true over the past 20 years because now we have data. We've converted music essentially to data, to digital data, bits and bytes. And what you see on the screen is what you see in a studio now, where music is sort of reduced into bits and bytes, and you see it in the form of waves, as you see on the screen. And I can look at this song, which I just finished, and I can sort of look at it and see the shape of it. I see the big points of the song, like right there is the climax and the softer parts of the song. And we have a little bit of control over data at this level, but as a pianist, when I'm playing a lot of notes at a time, it would be nice sometimes to have the ability to go in and start manipulating note by note. Now, that's not what's happening here. What you see on the screen, at any certain point where I draw or when I put the cursor, I'm going to get one snippet of sound that occurs just at that point. But it's not broken down note by note. Now, those of y'all that are familiar with MIDI data, or you've played MIDI instruments, you know that you can actually work with MIDI data that way, where you can literally go in after you record and tweak every note if you want to. Move it around, change it completely, make it louder or softer, and so on. But the problem with MIDI data is we have never, ever, in the history of recording, ever been able to get to the point where MIDI instruments sound as good as real instruments. In other words, a keyboard piano doesn't sound as good as a real piano. And the best sample libraries still are lacking to what I can get out of my acoustic piano sitting in here in the studio. So we have this catch-22. You can use MIDI data and have full control over editing it, but you don't have great sound. Or up till now, you can have acoustic piano that sounds better, but you don't have as much control over fixing it. Well, now all of a sudden, the game has changed because Melodyne is a piece of software where you can actually go in and manipulate acoustic data just like MIDI data. And I'm going to show you an example here. I'm going to actually pull up the song, the same song you're seeing on the screen. I'm going to pull it up in Melodyne. And what it's going to do here is going to analyze it. You see the hourglass. Over here on the left, think of this as a piano. You see the black notes and the white notes, okay? So basically what it's going to do is it's going to go through the song and find every note that's played, and it's going to assign them on this piano. Think of this again as a piano keyboard with the sound moving from left to right. You'll see what I mean here in just a second. It takes some time to do this because, frankly, it's very hard to do. But here's what we got. So we've actually got the song starting, and you see the first note, the first chord. That note right there is a G. See that? This note is G as well. This note is B flat, and so on. So every note in the song, believe it or not, has now been identified for us. Think of the computer processing power required to pull that off. But this software does it, and does it actually quite well. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this. Now that we have the music in this format, we actually can go in and change individual notes in the song, just like MIDI data. We can move notes around. For example, I can take, let's say that note right there, let's say I want to move it. Let's say it's out of line. I can actually put my cursor, I can change to that, this tool here, go in, move it around. And all of a sudden we have something that's going to sound horrible, but I'll play it for you anyway. Well, it really doesn't come out. It's being covered up. But you can move notes around to the wrong place. Here's something else I can do to make it stand out. I can actually raise the level of that note. I can make it play a lot louder. I don't know if you heard it, but now it's playing louder. We'll show you another example here in a second as well. We can move notes to a different place. Let's say this note is out of place. We can actually move it to a different note. Maybe we hit, in this case, a G instead of an F. We can correct notes in that way. Now, obviously, guys, you can't build a song this way, and you guys know that. This would be for very subtle tweaks. Sorry about all the dinging. I got my email going off. But we can only do little subtle tweaks here. And in this whole song, I might find one or two spots that need to be fixed. Let's see if I can find one really quick here for you. There's one place in the chorus where I didn't play a melody note loud enough. Let's see. I just did something wrong here. Let me get back. Let's see. That's exactly where I was. Okay, let's try this. Well, it's not really what I was looking for. Okay, there's a good example. This actually was what I was looking for. I'm going to play the whole chorus, or this whole phrase, and then I'm going to point out something that needs to be fixed. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know the song. This is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. But I didn't play the melody note really well. This is the melody note right here. It's a, what is that, a B flat. And I played it sort of weakly. So it's not standing out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and click on the amplitude tool. And I can actually drag it up. And it's going to play it. In this case, I'm going to set it to about 3 decibels louder. So now that particular note is going to play 3 decibels louder. Hear the difference? Now that's a subtle little thing, but those are the things that make a big difference in a recording. Let's say maybe I played these notes too loudly. Now I can knock them down. I can play that one quieter. So I knocked that one down 4 decibels, so it's a little more musical. You can do those kind of things. Again, let's just say you're in here. I go in time at some point in this song where everything is lining up on the beat. Let's see if I can find where that happens. Sort of rare for me to ever be on the beat. But here we go. Yeah, we're on the beat here. Notice all the notes are lining up on beats. And let's just say that I got a note a little bit out of a line. By the way, when I say they're on beats, we have measures. This is bar 43, bar 44, and then inside the bar we have each beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can actually look at this music and see if I'm playing on time with the metronome, in other words. And let's just say this one's a little off. Let's say it should have been on beat 3 instead of beat 2. I can actually go in and change that. Doesn't sound so good now, but you can do those kind of things. It's really amazing. Now, the reason you would do this, of course, in the studio is just simply because we all know that time is money. I could sit in the studio for hours and hours trying to get a song perfectly and messing up one note every take, or I could get it perfectly except for one note and then say, okay, I'm done with that song. I'm going to go tweak it in Melodyne. And you can imagine how much time that saves. And when you're paying for studio time, which I don't pay for studio time, but if I did pay for studio time, that would be a lot of money that would be saved. So Melodyne, by the way, I'm still using the trial version. I'm demonstrating it even though I haven't even bought it myself, but I got it this week. You can get a free 30-day trial off the website. Go out and search for it and you'll find it. But I'm in the trial. I just started using it this week. But it's $400, easy, for me, an easy decision to buy because it'll save me so much time in the long run. Hope y'all enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you next time.